and Selvis podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 8 of Wcst podcast. I am your host, usually as always, Cameron Miller. Feels good to be back in the leadoff spot.
Indeed.
I'm quite pleased with that. I was a little disappointed I wasn't here for most of the first half.
We need a leader.
Last week. That's true. And I'm here for you.
Thank you.
And with me, as always, as you've already heard, a man banned from child rearing due to cannibalistic tendencies, Nelson Piper.
Hey there, folks. None of that was true, but okay.
I'm sorry. Do you have children? Am I mistaken?
Oh goodness, you're doing it again. You're Inception. You're planting ideas in people's minds.
And since you haven't heard anyone scream "internet" or any strange sound effects, obviously Paul is not with us this week. He is on vacation. I believe he's in Florida. Am I correct in saying that?
Florida.
He is enjoying the sun, I guess.
Miami.
Since apparently we don't have any in Michigan, I guess.
Yeah. Nothing fun here.
Yeah. We got some movies for you guys this week. We're gonna do Jobs and Kick-Ass 2, but as you guys know by now, if you've been following along, we like to open up with our little open mic segment, and Nelson has something a little fun for us this week, so hop in.
So I'm talking to one of my coworkers today, and actually it wasn't today, it was a couple days ago, but it doesn't even matter for you folks. The only person that
they
it
don't
matters
need to know.
Is Carl.
Everything we can manipulate time on this podcast.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, I'm talking to one of the other managers. He works in the food court. His name's Carl, and he's telling me that he finally has plowed through our entire podcast and has listened to all these episodes. And he's telling me
that would be nearly 14 hours of content to this point.
I know.
12 hours, something like that.
It's impressive to say the least. I was very flattered. And
what a trooper, Carl.
Thank you, indeed.
Who else could put us up with us for that, long of a time in that quick succession like that? I have no idea.
So I'm talking to him, and just to get his reaction to it, because we don't have a lot from our listeners, we're just trying to figure out, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? I mean, obviously, if you listen to us that long, we're at least a withstandable stepchild, but...
Well, that's not necessarily true. There are lots of people out there who are a little bit of masochists. They will put themselves through things they hate.
Indeed. We have a whole segment based on it. But
that's true.
Going back to Carl, I just asked, and he said, I realized when I listen to most podcasts, there is a structure. There is a point A to point B to your next point, and it continues on and on from there.
Being point C.
Being point C. There's no... derivative, there's no change, and you get some of the conversation in there, but they do a really good job as far as their journalism and everything like that.
Ethical standards.
Indeed. And he's like, when I listen to you guys, it's really like a bomb. You guys have a structure, but the second a little pebble comes into play, you guys are just off the beaten path. And
this movie had Jake Gyllenhaal in it. Fuck Jake Gyllenhaal.
Exactly. So
let me go on a 10-minute diatribe about how Jake Gyllenhaal is the worst thing since sliced bread. I said it. Sliced bread, terrible idea.
We need loaves. We don't need the slices. So I asked him, well, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And he said, I actually liked it. He said that he'd listen to us in the car, and he'd turn around to make a comment to us, and he realized that we weren't actually there. So he said, kudos to us for making the scene enjoyable, that you could actually live within the voices of Nelson, Cameron, and Paul.
We are creating an alternative reality for people. While I do appreciate Carl's enthusiasm and commitment to listening to all the episodes, I have a little bit of concerns about his sanity or mental well-being. One, for having listened to us for such a long period of time, and beyond that, the whole thing about him turning around in his car makes me wonder about the voices he hears in his head. Hopefully Carl doesn't listen to episode 8. I've never met him. I don't know. I'm probably just throwing things off the wall here. But
Carl's a great man. He is honing his skills in ping pong, and he's just killing me. But that's a completely different story. Another rant, because the small pebbles just seem to get in my way. But Carl, we appreciate the feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl. Keep listening. I hope I didn't offend you or anything.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure you'll just scream at me in the backseat of your car. So
Keep on keeping on, good sir.
all right. With that, we have 2 movies that I mentioned at the top of the show here. We've got Jobs and Kick-Ass 2 this week. It was a jam-packed week schedule-wise for both Nelson and myself, and then with Paul being gone, didn't do great things. So it was a little bit strange this week, but I saw Jobs, Nelson saw Kick-Ass 2, so we're going to kind of come at this a little bit different way than maybe we do traditionally.
Indeed. So
what
do you
we
think?
starting? We're starting with Jobs,
yeah,
right?
kicking off with Jobs. I saw about 15 minutes of it.
Okay.
Clips here and there, but nothing was...
Not like a straight 15, just
No.
kind of popping your head in every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't miss anything. This was one that I really, really wish that you I really wish you had gotten a chance to see it, and
Indeed.
and Paul was here this week, being since you two are kind of the Apple aficionados
Yeah.
on the show, and we already know my predisposition on that issue. It's not necessarily good. I do own an iPad, so I guess I'm a somewhat, contributor to
You can
Apple
at least
products.
cope with them.
Yeah. I don't have anything against Apple. I just don't see what all the fuss is with the incredible brand loyalty and everything. So I'm probably the least of the three of us that probably the least qualified or least prepared to see an Apple-based movie of the three of us, but yet here we stand.
Indeed.
So it didn't help that Ashton Kutcher is playing Steve Jobs. I'm pretty sure he's one of the actors I've mentioned in previous podcasts that I have a hard time dealing with. I cannot name one thing of his I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
Punk'd, not a quality program either. Anyone who's out there thinking, well, he did Punk'd. That was really big for like 3 years.
Nah.
So, no. Does nothing for me. I really do not care for Ashton Kutcher at all.
Yeah.
The movie itself felt a little bit disjointed. It's kind of just all over the place. You spend some time with him when he's younger, and it progresses through the age. But there's nothing that like grabs me about like this guy's life. Really, like I just don't.
Did he go to the Himalayas or something like that? Figure his life out?
I don't recall him going to the Himalayas.
Oh, darn. Okay, then I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
I wanted him to receive
he did not. He did not spend 75% of the movie in a burqa, sitting in a fire in an igloo, trying to work through life's issues. I don't remember. Although I may have fallen asleep. Who really knows?
That's too bad.
The movie could have been 3 hours long. I'm not 100% sure. It's just. The whole story is basically about, it's about his life as a college dropout, and then how he rises. He gets fired from Apple, the company he created or helped create, and then gets brought back, and how he rises as this creative giant. But the movie does nothing to make me care about it.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's like it just seems so self-indulgent, and maybe self-indulgent isn't the right word because it's not like Jobs made the movie.
Yeah.
But it just seems like it's building this character that's, and I don't want to take anything away from Steve Jobs. I think he was, brilliant in some of the innovations he did. Like I said, I'm not huge into Apple like a lot of people, but a lot of people are.
Yeah.
So look at what he's created. I can't fault the man for that. But I don't view him as this incredible patriarch of just this monolith of a man that should be lauded for everything that he's created, and I don't know. It's not a story I cared about going into. The casting of Kutcher didn't help. The story being bland, there wasn't a whole lot going on, I didn't feel like, throughout the film. I could not get involved emotionally in the character at all, and I just the whole movie was just kind of just whatever.
Disjointed.
It wasn't like it's not like it's a complete hodgepodge mishmash of just all this crap that just gets thrown together. I mean, it has structure. I mean, the movie makes sense, I guess, is what I should say, but it just isn't anything that I don't understand how anybody cares about it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not a story that's built for film. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
In my eyes. I guess that's the best way I can explain it.
The thing that I didn't like, when you look at the movie Jobs, I mean, it's done by Open Road Films, and them as a production studio, I mean, there's nothing really that I really get caught up in. They have coming out this year Side Effects and
coming out this year.
Or I'm sorry, they already had that Side Effects and The Host, and then End of Watch. I don't know.
End of Watch. Oh my God, another Gyllenhaal bomb.
Yeah. So
did you see End of Watch?
Yeah.
So was it not just like an hour and a half of build up to a drug bust and then 10 minutes of a drug bust?
Yeah, and then
like it was
everybody dies.
Yeah, I mean, it was just. I mean, that was.
It was just shaky camera the whole way through. You really felt like you were.
It was Cloverfield minus the monster.
Yeah, exactly, and intense at all, but it really did nothing for me. So I'm looking at Jobs, and that was my first pull from it, where I'm like, I don't want to see this. And then Ashton Kutcher, not a huge fan, and I already know a decent amount about his life and story. I've seen a few of the biographies that have been done, and so with this, I stuck my head into a couple areas, and there was obviously when he got fired from Apple, I thought that was, I don't know, I see better drama in Breaking Bad kind of thing. and that's
the whole redemption story. Oh, I'm coming back. I'm gonna bring you guys back up from the bottom.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, it's a computer company. I mean, like, I don't. You're not like. I don't want to disparage what he did, but it's just like, how is that made for movie? You know what I mean? How is that movie fodder? How is that entertaining?
Yeah.
It's just not. I mean, I don't know. It's a really, really rough sell of a movie idea for me anyway, and I don't know. It's getting. I will say this. Against End of Watch, which was kind of critically appraised by a lot of people. This is getting about the ratings I think it deserves. 5.4 Metascore, if I remember correctly. Or no, 43 out of 100 on Metascore.
Okay.
And then like a 5.4 on IMDb.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not getting panned, but it's just kind of, I think everyone kind of feels like I feel about it. It's just like, it is what it is. Hey, remember that thing that you've heard 100 times about Steve Jobs? Well, here it is on film with a terrible actor.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to compare to, for the overall weekend, it made $6.7 million and got released in 2,300 theaters nationwide.
So not good.
Yeah, not crazy at all. Granted, their budget was really good. They kept that low, so I think they realized
there's nothing in it to spend money on. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like,
well, Ashton Kutcher deserves a big part of this, but
plane tickets maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
for on scene, I guess. I
mean, so it's $12 million right there for them that they spent. But honestly, this movie,
they'll make that. But.
Yeah. It is sad, though, to see the kind of justice, quote unquote, that you would give to Steve Jobs. Granted, I mean, he had the most valuable company in the world for a good chunk of time here and has revolutionized technology. I mean, he started smartphones, he started tablets, and yet the social network that was dealing with Zuckerberg the whole time is... honestly, a great movie. I liked it a ton. That was my big comparison.
I didn't even think about that. I don't know why, because it's just the absolute perfect parallel for this movie.
Yeah.
Which Zuckerberg's story you wouldn't really think
was going to be compelling or had a lot to it.
You wouldn't really think there was a lot going on there. And obviously there's some creative license in that movie too. We've heard about it, with the with like his comments on how he was portrayed as kind of an asshole. He didn't really think that was accurate or whatever. A lot of that stuff, and obviously I understand it's a movie.
No asshole thinks he's an asshole.
Well, I know I'm an asshole.
Okay, a self-aware.
It's just it's a rare trait, but that is the perfect parallel movie. The Social Network. There was like. I don't know, there was like this emotional investment there, like the
Yeah, exactly.
like the meeting up with Sean Parker thing that they, that's like at least an interesting detail, and they kind of expanded off of that. And the kind of how he isolated, like he had, not a ton of friends, but a core group of friends, and he just kind of isolated himself away from his best friend.
Yeah.
It was just an interesting story. And then the whole Jobs thing was just like, I think it should be done this way. And then
agree,
and then everyone's just like, no, we think you're wrong. And then they're just like, oh wait, you were probably right. Come fix this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't have the same compelling.
Because it wasn't dealing with a core group of, like, they didn't build relationships with these people. The only one you had was, like, Wozniak. And then you're just dealing with a corporate group of tools who are just money pinchers. And he's like, I have this great idea for what technology can be. And it's like, okay, cool.
And I think that was another thing. The Jobs movie kind of is building Steve Jobs as this visionary. And, the case can be made that he was. But Zuckerberg's a bit of a visionary, too. But it's not like shoved down your throat the whole movie. It's more about the emotional aspect of his life. You know what I mean? It's not – The Social Network is about Facebook, but it's not about Facebook. You know what I mean? It's just about – It's about
the
about
founder.
Everything that happened surrounding its rise to prominence,
Yeah.
And it's a much better story to tell, I think.
Indeed.
So, I don't know.
All right.
That's all I've got on Jobs.
What would you give Jobs? How many apples are you giving it?
I would give it – probably 4.5 bitten apples.
4.5 bitten apples. Okay, sounds good. Well, moving on. Next we have Kick-Ass 2, and
a movie I would have much rather seen, but it just didn't fit into my schedule.
It's a shame. Kick-Ass 2 was as a little bit less than what I was expecting, but it didn't miss the mark by too much for me.
I remember Paul saying, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago off camera, he said every trailer he saw, the production value just looked really, really bad in Kick-Ass 2. So I kind of wanted to get your opinion on that before we delve into the movie. Was he off base or?
No, not too much. The production value... It got crappy when there would be these cutscenes. Did you see the first one? Right?
I did see the first one.
You saw Kick-Ass. I love that movie because it plays this character as a superhero, and really he is just a normal person that is an idiot. And the thing that makes it funny is that there's this little girl who has been raised to just be an assassin, and is trying to impress him when really he's about to like throw up at every turn when she stabs someone. So I loved it, and it had this just hilarious bits to it, and honestly it's one of the few movies that I like Nicolas Cage in, and
that's a task to find a good Nicolas Cage movie.
And this one did it for me, but this second one see him
Cage died in the first one, right?
Yeah.
Or he did. Okay.
He gets killed in the first one, and so his daughter is still trying to develop and be. She's 15 in this show, which I still don't think the math adds up for how it went. I guess it's 2 or 4 years later, and she was only 10 in the show, the original one.
In the original one.
So you're just kind of like, okay, I guess we'll accept this, and it worked out.
There are worse consistency issues, I guess.
Exactly, but they have her skipping school because she now lives with the former cop that was her father's partner, and she's skipping school, she's fighting crime, and then you find out that Kick-Ass actually has basically been done with crime fighting altogether. He doesn't
with kicking ass.
Indeed, but he comes back, he starts training with her, he starts getting fit, and you're like, okay, this is going to be really cool. And then she has to stop basically everything. She's like, no, I'm done. I made a promise that I won't fight anymore. And so it's just Kick-Ass trying to get this group together, and it has Jim Carrey, and he's basically the ringleader for this. Okay. He's like a retired ex-mafia guy, so he has his connections. He has some I guess, training to give everyone and to kind of show them and see where the real criminals are. But you get these quick monologues and these quick cutscenes that try to develop a certain specific amount of time, and it's just really choppy. It has some cartoon segment to it, so it's more comic book, which the show kind of is basing off of a little bit more comic book stuff.
Graphic novel.
Yeah, graphic novel. So you see it, and it reminds me of the first Hulk that they made, which was just horrible.
The Eric Bana Hulk?
Yeah, and all those cutscenes and everything like that. But they steer away from it, and they come back to it, so you don't really know where the movie's coming from. And then it builds up. The thing that I can't stand with movies as of late is you build up to this big fight scene. There's always this big, massive confrontation that has to just go above and beyond what it should be. This movie was super graphic.
Yeah,
like,
the first one was too.
Yeah, but this one was like a very hard R, like worse than the last one. You see a guy get run over, and he gets like stuck in a van's wheel and just gets grinded on the cement, and you're like, it's pretty intense.
I was not expecting that.
Indeed. And then the fight scenes in it are pretty sweet. The one little surprise character that they have in this one is Dr. Gravity, who otherwise known as Donald Faison.
Or otherwise known as Turk on Scrubs.
Turkleton. So
Turk.
So he's in this one, and he actually plays like consistently all the way through. So I'm like, yes.
So he has a fairly decent sized role.
Yeah.
I kind of looked. I was doing a little reading on it, so I had at least some basis of knowledge when we got on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I was under the impression that he was more of just like a one-off kind of character thing, but apparently not.
No, he actually did a good chunk. They had to replace the old guy that was Todd in the original one, but he really didn't have any part in the movie at all. The final end of the story comes, and I mean the girl Mindy, or Hit Girl, she gets basically screwed from this that big thick Russian girl that you see in the trailers. She's she's hardcore. I mean, she kills everybody and everything, and she ends up beating her at her own game. It's rather funny. She has all these weapons that are available, and you think that Hit Girl and Kick-Ass are going to take these syringes because it's part of their tool belt, and you basically think the whole time that these syringes are a quick way to like kill themselves. So if they have no other option, that they'll get killed. And it turns out it's just adrenaline. So the Russian girl has her in like a headlock with her thighs and is like, I'm going to break you. And then she tries to take out her syringe. She's like, oh, you were going to try to poison me? She's like, now I'm going to kill you. And she like jabs her with it. And then she just gets yoked with this adrenaline and kills the Russian lady. So it's pretty sweet.
Nice.
Indeed.
What is Christopher Mintz-Plass's contribution in this one? Because he had a decent role in the original, right?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. McLovin, for those of you that don't know.
Yes.
Actor.
He's
probably much more recognizable by that name.
He's Chris D'Amico, and he doesn't really. It's just super random. He has his henchman in this. And
is he a villain in this?
Yeah, he's a villain. He goes from a superhero to a villain, and he's the main antagonist.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, he pulls everything together basically to try to get all these bad guys. So he just starts hiring hitmen, and he gives them crazy costumes, and they stay in this lair and everything like that. And it gets really dark for a minute because it's all spoilers in this segment, folks. But Kick-Ass's father,
a little late to notify.
Yeah. His father gets killed in this by Chris D'Amico through like hitmen and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And
Kick-Ass's father gets killed?
Yeah.
Okay.
By Christopher Mintz-Plasse. How do you say his last name? Mintz-Plasse?
Mintz-Plasse, I believe.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's how you say it.
At any rate, Chris D'Amico. He's super funny in this. There's a part where his mom's like in a tanning bed, and he's like, I just wish you would die, and he like kicks the tanning bed and it electrocutes her, and he's like, wow, really? That did it? Kind of. So it's funny. It's out there with the gore. So if you can't handle that, then you're gonna be a little taken aback.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey dies within like 15 minutes. So
Yeah, I was just looking at the billing on IMDb right now, and he's like one of the last people listed on this freaking cast list. He's like 20 people down.
Yeah, he did a good job though. You wouldn't really know that it was him.
Colonel Stars and Stripes, apparently.
Colonel Stars and Stripes. There's it's funny, but it works out. The story's good. It kind of leaves you thinking that there's going to be a third, but I take it back on the story. The story wasn't good. I don't know why I said that, but it's not super great. It's nothing really compelling. They just don't know where they're going in certain parts. They start talking about hit girls being a regular teenage girl and how she's beating these popular girls at their own game, and her going through like puberty, thinking guys are hot now, even though she's been trained as an assassin her entire life. So they do a good job there, and then they just kind of end it. They're like, no, and we're done.
And now she's hit girl again. Let's go murder a Russian broad.
Yep, and then she's got to leave town because she killed like 20 people. And that's where the story ends. But it's entertaining to say the least. Chris D'Amico does a good job.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse, right? Chris D'Amico's the character name?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I'm just checking.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep everybody straight.
All right. Character-wise, Chris D'Amico is hilarious. Dave Liszewski, or Aaron Taylor Johnson. I always want to say Aaron Taylor Thomas, but
where is Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
He does a good job. The whole movie overall, I'm gonna give it. I'll give it 6.5.
Asses kicked.
Asses kicked.
Good luck drawing that graphic.
Kicked asses.
Kicked asses. 6.5 kicked asses. All right.
Indeed.
Yeah, you're a little below company line there, apparently.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I've been the positive one.
Yeah, I know. 7, and a lot of the critics I'm seeing is like more like 7.5 type range.
Indeed.
So negative. Way to fill in for Paul this week.
You're welcome. And overall, the movie came in at number 5. I mean, We're the Millers, Elysium, and Planes beat it out. I
can't believe Planes beat it out.
I know, but it beat it out by only 50,000. So Kick-Ass came in at 13.3 million, and that was the same with Planes, but they had 13,388,000, and Kick-Ass had 13,332,000. So it's a little bit below what the original one did at 19 million. And that's kind of surprising because it had a huge DVD release. There was so many more people that watched the show after it came out on DVD than in theaters.
I was one of those. That's actually a quick little interesting story. Was I bought Kick-Ass on Blu-ray just because I wanted, I hadn't seen it yet, and I found it was fairly cheap, and I watched it, and then I kid you not, 2 days later it was on Netflix, and I was pissed.
Yeah, that sucks.
Not that I don't enjoy the movie, but it's not one that I typically would have owned. I just didn't, I wanted to see it, and I didn't know how else I was going to see it then.
Yeah.
Yep, sure enough, there it is on Netflix. Sweet. Awesome, guys. Yeah.
Then there were 2 other movies that came out this weekend. There was Lee Daniels, The Butler, which was an interesting story. About a month ago, I'm just sitting in my office and I look at my emails and I see that I have one from the Weinstein Company that basically is a disclaimer to everyone saying, The Butler is no longer called The Butler. Universal Studios has a movie that was made in 1932 called The Butler that they will sue us over copyright infringement if we continue to use this title. So we have now changed the movie's title to Lee Daniels, The Butler. So just ridiculous out of the blue. First of all, I had to look up what The Butler was.
Yeah.
And then...
yeah, it only came out, 60 years before we were born.
Indeed, but whatever. They still own it. They still have the rights. And then... the movie itself, it came in at number 1 and beat everything else out with 24 million. It was number 1 for the box office. It came out in 2,900 theaters, and
which is really strange because I had never heard of this movie up until like 2 days ago when I started reading. I was like, oh, huh. Well, that won box office this week or whatever, or started doing well. Started to get a little bit of pub.
Indeed.
Oh.
I mean, the story is talking about Cecil Gaines, who serves 8 presidents during his tenure as a butler at the White House. And it's during all throughout, like, civil rights, Vietnam, and other major events that have affected his life and his family. And then,
You know what's really funny?
what?
Is I know you're reading this right off the IMDb page because I'm like looking at it, and then you like started saying, I was like, oh, he's saying exactly what's in front of me. Right
Behind the scenes, indeed.
Little sneak peek there for you. We are well versed and researched.
But listeners, if you didn't know that would have just sounded like it was just coming right off the tongue.
You didn't know when we were doing it for the first 7 episodes.
I could normally give a brief synopsis, but now that people are going to be looking back, I guess I better come clean. There were several that you just look up the quickie on IMDb and Box Office Mojo. Give a lot of credit to those websites. That's where we get a lot of the information.
I don't think it's terrible of us. I mean, we had no intentions of seeing Lee Daniels, the butler.
Exactly. So we're getting our worth there.
We're just trying to fill you guys in.
Indeed. That was number 1 in the box office, so I guess America thought that was the best movie
Oprah
to see.
Winfrey factor.
Indeed. I mean, that's all she has to do on her show. Is like, everyone's getting free tickets to see my movie.
That show she doesn't have anymore.
Oh, yeah, she's just got her channel now.
Yeah, just the whole freaking network.
I forget that. But she's got to get that outlet somehow. I'm sure she just has like a warehouse full of people just waiting to get free stuff. Here you go.
Yeah, possibly. I don't think Oprah Winfrey has much struggles to find an audience if she really wants one.
Yeah. But the last movie, getting back to this, is Paranoia. And got a bone to pick with Paranoia. Aside from the movie just being horrible, it really... Well, to start off, it has a cast with Liam Hemsworth, Gary Oldman, Amber Heard, and Harrison Ford, and that's really where the whole crux of the story comes in. And
it's a quality cast. I like that cast.
I know. You think it's going to be something worthwhile and attractive, but it's a crazy story to begin with, how the guy gets into everything. He becomes like an entry-level employee at this corporate office, and he's been honing his skills in technology and development and R&D projects in his basement so that he eventually could get into the corporate life. And I'm like, first of all, you don't just tinker with toys to get into the corporate life here. What you need is a degree and someone to be worth your time. But
practical experience.
Yeah, exactly. But... This
no,
show
no,
just,
no.
no.
I'm going to build something.
Indeed. So he ends up getting into this corporate thing with Gary Oldman, and he finds himself being asked to go work for the competition and his former friend Harrison Ford, and he's getting himself a big corporate office. He's going to become just like a CEO of something or a CFO, and then he's basically getting paid on both ends. One, to develop these crazy projects and to kind of prove that he deserves this ridiculous pay raise and grade, and then the other one is paying him to steal the ideas that he's creating and developing, and so that he can stay one step ahead of him. And they're just two big tech giants. And really what I've described is
Apple v. Google.
Yeah, kind of thing. And they're really close to each other. You see the whole thing play out, and it's just really crappy camera work. There's these random, like, swoosh over here and then zoom into the thing that we want to go to and then cut back out and come over here. And there's these weird cuts where you start paying attention to the camera work rather than just feeling like it's a natural flow of a story. And that's when you know it's bad camera work, when you're looking at it and saying,
when you're acknowledging the fact that the camera is doing
something.
Things.
Yeah, if you don't have a trained eye, or you're not meticulous enough to be like, oh, I see these camera moves and these patterns that they're doing, But when you can be a regular person that comes out of the theater and can come up to me as a theater manager and say, man, that movie was filmed really weird. Like, there was a lot of random cuts and stuff like that. Granted, there was only 4 people that were in the theater. But the thing that I wanted to get to that bugs me about this is if you watch the trailer, you don't need to see this show. You're done. The movie's summarized, that hour and 40-some minutes is summarized in the trailer. You have the entire story, how he grew up, how he gets to this position, how he's spying for the other team, and he's basically going to either be killed or screw over both of them and become a bigger piece to the puzzle. And that's it. And there you go. Movie over. 2-minute trailer does a far better job with the camera work, with the acting, with everything.
Yeah, you can expect some shoddy camera cuts during a trailer.
Yes, indeed. So
just take out all that filler. Let's just cut movies down to 2 minutes from now on anyway.
Yeah, who needs it? And it
I
bugged me.
would have loved a 2-minute version of Jobs.
It would have been nice, but this movie bugged me because the director, his name is Robert Luptik. He also directed 21, and he directed Legally Blonde. So he's got some hit and misses. 21 arguably is his best movie that he's ever done, in my book, as far as being something worthwhile to watch. But he also did Killers, that had Ashton Kutcher and Katherine Heigl, and then he had The Ugly Truth with Gerard Butler and Katherine Heigl again. It's
Big
not
Heigl fan.
Yeah, indeed. But
I'll say this about that career progression there. 21, I would consider to be a fairly decent movie. I enjoyed watching it. But if that's the peak of your capabilities,
you got to waste.
Then I don't. Yeah, then I don't. You're not going to be someone I'm really looking to watch your stuff on a consistent basis.
Indeed.
And then when you follow it up with 2 movies starring Katherine Heigl and throwing Kutcher into the mix, then I will exit stage right on that.
Well, unfortunately, America felt the same way about Paranoia. It earned $3.5 million in box office, for crying out loud. Despicable Me 2 beat it out. And it's,
like a month into it.
It's 7th week.
Awesome.
It beat it out.
2 months into it.
Yeah, and
Jeez, oh Pete. What was the budget on that sucker?
$35 million. So
three
times
what Jobs
was. And
awesome.
It came in at 13th overall box office and opened in 2,400 theaters. So a little less than what Jobs did as well as far as theater releases. And I would give this movie 3 broken microchips out of 10. That's what the whole movie's dealing with.
It's so disappointing because I really, really do like this cast.
I know. You want it to do good.
I know you want it to be good. Love Ford, love Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
And I like Hemsworth all right, and I like Hurt okay, but it's just, oh man.
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
It was bad.
I was a little bit, I wouldn't say I was excited, but it was a movie that I was like, that's something that I could see myself going to see just on a whim one day.
Yeah. No.
Not now.
No. And America, listen to that. Don't. It's a hard no. Hard pass on that. But
well, that probably wraps us up for the first half. We did not do a horrible Netflix this week.
Indeed, we spared ourselves. We took a little vacation with Paul on those. So
with Paul not being put through the tragedy, then we figured we might as well give ourselves a little bit of time to recover as well.
Indeed. So America will be coming back with you for the next episode with our horrible Netflix. Please send us some suggestions, and we will put ourselves through the ringer.
I'll say this real quick, though, since I wasn't here on the first half for last week. I did see Gun, and it was by far the best horrible Netflix movie we've seen so far.
Indeed.
Val Kilmer's hair alone was worth watching that movie.
Yeah, and his bloated face.
Ah, yes.
So
long ago are the days of Willow for Val Kilmer.
All right. Well, viewers, we'll catch you later. We'll be back after this quick break. Adios.
See.
We can sell this podcast.
Welcome back to the second half of Wcst Podcast, Episode 8. For those of you, and we know there are very few, but for those of you who are looking for the video game segment we typically do in the second half, I am sorry to disappoint you this week. There will be no talk of video games in this second half of the episode, at least not until the very end in passing.
Indeed.
We have been presented with a unique opportunity this week. Paul has chosen to go on vacation, and it just so happens that during that vacation, we are in the height of fantasy football draft season. Now, we are not gonna sit here and go all sports bomb on you on this podcast, even though I'd love to.
Me too.
But we are gonna take a little bit of spin on it this week. We, being that it is fantasy football time, we decided that we would do a fantasy football draft out of our favorite movie characters of all time. We decided we'd do a little bit of fun this week. We wanna get a couple chuckles out of you guys. So hopefully, this will be a segment that we can maybe continue on with different topics in the future, because I like doing lists and things of that nature. With that being said, let me lay out the format for you here. Nelson and I have no idea who each other has picked for their roster spots. It might not happen, but if anyone is first to a character, then the other person must come up on the spot with a replacement.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
thinking on your feet.
Hopefully we don't run into too much trouble there. We're probably gonna do it in a little bit of a guessing game format. We'll see if we can guess who the other one has based on a couple clues here. So without further ado, we will be drafting 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, a kicker, and a coach for our respective movie football teams.
Indeed.
The one caveat to this is that we are not allowed to pick characters from sports movies.
Yes.
So this is all everything outside of that field. You've never seen, well, maybe almost never seen any of these people performing any kind of athletics in films.
Indeed.
So without further ado, let's get the draft underway here. Nelson, what position do you want to start with first?
Let's do coach. You need the coach. That's the backbone right there.
I agree. I think coach is an interesting place to start. Really sets the tone for your team.
Indeed.
Do you wanna give me a couple clues first? See if I can nail them for you.
So my character is borderline psychosis. He actually is the reason why this character has a psychosis, or another psyche, if you will. He likes to get beat up, and in turn beats up a lot of people. In a very intense movie, both of which these 2 actors are on my list for my movie draft, and I'm trying to think what else would help. He not only runs an underground fight ring, but
Tyler Durden, eh?
Indeed, Tyler Durden. Brad Pitt.
So I can expect an Ed Norton entry later in this
Yes,
list?
indeed. So Brad Pitt as Tyler Durden is my head coach.
That is, you are really setting a strange tone for your fantasy movie team, I'll tell you what.
No one's going to be expecting his place. I'm pretty sure half of your team will be blown up before the second quarter, but, who's to say? Maybe he's really, really incredible with those trick plays. That's what I'm hoping.
He probably is. I would imagine so. I would like to say that we are probably breaking the first rule of fantasy movie draft, which is don't talk about fantasy movie draft.
Indeed.
So hopefully he doesn't get too upset with us.
Yeah.
All right. Mine is I'm glad we kind of went on a little bit of the same wavelength here, because my guy has some issues of his own. He's a little lesser known character than the one that you had.
Oh dear.
But he's from one of my favorite movies of all time. One of my favorite actors, actually. He's done some really great stuff. This movie is centered around, well, I guess it's not centered around, but the part where you see my coach most is in a bowling alley.
Oh gosh.
Yep.
Okay.
He is starring alongside one Mr. Jeff Bridges in this film.
Okay.
It is a Coen Brothers movie.
All right. I know it's The Big Lebowski.
Okay. Yes.
I'm getting there, but my question then for you is, I mean, it's not Steve Buscemi, is it?
No.
Okay.
I would have loved to have Steve Buscemi. You're out of your fucking element, Donnie. It is the man who utters that line.
You almost said it exactly like him. Kudos for that. But John
that's right.
Goodman as Walter Sobchak.
Sobchak. I believe it's Sobchak or something.
Yeah.
I'm all about a guy who is a violent Vietnam veteran who is willing to lay it all out there on the line for his team, but will refuse to roll on Shabbos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like a man. I like a man who has boundaries. He understands that you need to do everything to win, but some things are bigger than the game of football, like a Jewish day of rest. I don't fucking roll on Shabbos. Oh man, if you out there have not seen The Big Lebowski, I would recommend it. It is a ultimate cult classic movie and is one of my personal favorites.
Seriously,
absolutely great movie, and that character is one of my favorite characters in all of film.
I only saw that movie like a couple years ago, so.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
When I got a Blu-ray player, there was like 3 movies I bought when I first got my Blu-ray player. I bought the original Star Wars trilogy.
Ooh.
And then I also bought The Big Lebowski. Those were the first 2 that I bought. So.
Fair enough.
I guess that's technically 4 movies. Call it what you will.
All right. Well, if we're going from I'm going to go kind of all over the place when it comes to these positions, so stop me when you want, but I say the next one we do is the kicker.
All right. Let's
they don't mean much, but when it comes down to the last point of the game, they mean everything, and you blame the entire game on them. So
that's true. Who has broad enough shoulders in movie history to be your win at all cost kicker?
All right. Well, let me see. In this movie, he plays a neo-Nazi or an ex-neo-Nazi who is trying to get his...
Is this the Edward Norton one right here?
Indeed it is.
So we're talking American History X.
Yep.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. I can't remember his character's name.
His name is...
I haven't seen that in so long.
Derek Vineyard. And...
all you need to know about American History X, if you haven't seen it, is there is a very vivid curb stomping scene.
Yeah, you'll never get it out of your head.
Yeah, I still haven't. And it has been years. That's all you need to know about that movie. If that sounds interesting to you, go check it out. It really is a great movie.
Yeah.
But it is disturbing, to say the least, in some moments.
Well, he's got a strong heel, and that's all he needs to be the kicker, so...
Would you make the case what Edward Norton character is more broken? The Fight Club psychosis break with Tyler Durden or the ex-neo-Nazi?
I'm going to say the ex-neo-Nazi because he actually has accepted who he is. Well, I take it. No, the guy, oh, freak. I can't decide on that one because he really isn't that bad or psycho at the whole throughout all of Fight Club until the very end when he finally accepts it and after he's like shot himself through the head. Right. But if it's going off of the book, the book he just wakes up in a mental institution and it gives you more of like a pit in your stomach. So I'm going to say Fight Club. He's more broken in that.
That's the more broken Edward Norton character.
Yes.
Yeah, as tough as it is for me not to pick a reformed neo-Nazi, yeah, I think I have to go with Norton and Fight Club, too. That is a complete depiction of a man who is just a shell of a man, basically.
Yeah, he's gone off his rocker.
Maybe even a shell of 2 men, I guess you could say.
Indeed. So, moving on, who do you have for your kicker, good sir? Drop me some hints.
All right. This is, for my money, one of top 5 most badass character in any movie, anywhere.
Oh, man.
Starring alongside Leonardo DiCaprio. This is a Scorsese film, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so we talking about The Departed?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
No. 2002 also has Cameron Diaz.
Getting closer.
Stop typing away back there.
I'm trying not to.
The man enjoys his meat essentially as raw as can possibly be consumed.
As raw as possibly can be consumed.
I guess maybe I'm not sure you've seen this movie.
I'm not 100% sure if I have either.
He's also played, he just did Lincoln, the actor we're talking about.
Ah, okay. Wait, Daniel Day-Lewis?
We are talking Daniel
Okay,
Day-Lewis,
so
yes sir.
was this the boxer?
No, this wasn't the boxer.
No,
this
that
was
didn't-
Gangs of New York.
Gangs of New York. Shut your face.
What?
Ah, you took my guy. You took my guy.
You did not take Bill the Cutting.
I did.
Oh,
I did.
Bill the Butcher?
Bill the Butcher
where-
Cutting.
Where did you have him at?
I had
Who was your
him as one
position?
of my wide receivers. He was going to cut everyone's hamstrings as he was running.
Oh, I know. He's awesome. He just runs by and slices you with a knife. You have to redraft that position, sir.
Gosh.
I can't believe we did it. There's so many movie characters.
Dang it.
Man. Yes, I figured I would keep him as my kicker, since anyone who dared, he would have all the time in the world to get the kickoff, because who would dare rush Bill the Butcher Cutting?
I can just picture him with like 4 cigarettes in his mouth.
Oh
and,
my God.
And just with his like one creepy eye and just looking at everyone and be like, yep, you're done right.
Oh my God.
He get 2-point conversions like crazy. He just pick up the ball and just walk.
He'll just bring a freaking club to the field and bash your skull in. No second thought. Such an awesome character. Gangs of New York, great movie. That's
Yeah.
when that's the first movie that DiCaprio did that I was really like, okay,
This
is
guy
not Titanic is not the guy's
Yeah, or
range
Romeo
here.
and Juliet.
We have a lot more talent right here. And then to put him alongside Daniel Day-Lewis with a character just that just amazing. I love that movie. Also in my Blu-ray collection right there.
Yeah. I got so hung up when you started saying Martin Scorsese that I didn't even bother. Like, if I had really been paying...
I'm pretty sure it's a Scorsese film.
It is, but I just didn't know that part, so I'm getting hung up on Scorsese here, and then I see... If I had been paying attention to the DiCaprio and freaking Diaz part, I would have definitely made that connection right away. Oh, okay, Gangs of New York. Gosh. Still.
I'm super happy. I would have been... That was the number one guy I took, too. That was the first name written down on my board.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I just didn't know where I wanted to put him, but I figured I'd sit him at kicker for a while.
Yeah.
And then see how everything else played out.
Oh.
All right. I'm so excited. All right, we won't go to wide receivers next since you have to
Yeah, I gotta find
come
another
up with
one.
another one. You want to do quarterbacks yet, or are we
Yeah.
saving the quarterback?
Let's do our QBs.
All right.
All right.
You are up first, sir. I'll give you a chance to rebuttal and try and steal one of my guys.
All right. This man is more commonly known as Siler from the show Heroes. He plays a Vulcan, not the bird.
All right. So, Quinto, are we talking Spock here?
Yeah, Zachary Quinto is Spock.
Ah. That's an interesting selection right there.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's smart. The guy's fit. Knows what he's doing.
He probably does. He probably certainly does have a high football IQ if he puts his mind to it. I would
Yeah.
imagine.
I mean, he's got that Vulcan IQ, and at the same time, like, if he gets tackled by anyone, all he's got to do is do his little, like, Vulcan touch, read their minds, and he knows your plays. He knows
that's true.
everything.
Plus, if anyone gets too close, you can just Vulcan neck bench him and put him on the ground.
Yeah. Vulcan grip.
It's we have a little bit of an interesting battle here.
All right.
Because I've also chosen a legendary sci-fi character as my quarterback.
Okay, let's hear it out.
I have mentioned his movies already
Okay.
during the course of this conversation. He wears all black, and he's not necessarily all man.
He's not necessarily all man.
Mm-hmm.
He's all black. What movie? Where are we going with this? Okay.
Let's see. It's so easy. This one's so easy to give away. I'm trying to think of something that,
The hints.
yeah, that will be. I can't do that. Something. He has twins,
Okay.
and his wife is deceased.
He has twins and his wife is deceased. It's a movie that we've already talked about.
It's not a movie. It was a movie I mentioned, but not in relation to any of the characters we've drafted to this point.
Oh gosh. I have no
What
idea.
What was the first movies I bought on Blu-ray?
Oh. And here we go. We got the we got the Star Trek trilogy, and then the Big Lebowski.
Nah, Star Wars trilogy.
Star
sir.
Wars trilogy. Okay.
We have a Trekkie versus
right.
versus fanboy battle in our first in our quarterbacks.
Wait a sec. All right. So okay, it's Darth Vader, but
It most certainly is Darth Vader.
who plays Darth Vader is the real question.
Well, Darth Vader is voiced by James Earl Jones, if I remember. Yeah, it's James Earl Jones, because
David Prowse is the one who's in the costume.
Yeah, nobody cares about that. It's all about the voice. Now, I know what all of our listeners are probably thinking at this point. Vader, he can barely move around. He's not very mobile, which is true. Very true. But he can stop all defensive lines with the Force. Just keep him at bay. And then he just surveys the field, and he's got a freaking robot arm. I'm sure it's a cannon.
Yeah.
And just throw it way, way deep downfield. I am expecting multiple MVPs and Super Bowl victories out of with Darth Vader at the helm of my football team.
You're really pulling for him, I see.
Yeah. I know everyone might be a little bit worried about the asthma too, but we've got that under control. We have a team of professionals making sure he's ready to go week in, week out.
All right, fair enough. I mean, his parts are easily interchangeable.
That's true. We do keep spares on the sideline.
Yeah, so...
And he's already got a helmet, so we're saving money right off the top right there.
There you go. Done. All right.
All right.
I just got on this random, right now I'm just looking at the computer and going over all of the former Star Wars people, and I came across Peter Mayhew, who plays Chewbacca, and that guy really doesn't need all that costume. He really is just
a hairball?
A hairball creepy dude. But okay, so
fun fact for the listeners.
We picked our QBs. We've got our coach, our kicker. Where do you want to go to next? Pick the next one.
Let's go to our tight ends. Let's get them out of the way here.
All right. I definitely don't think you have this one. I don't even know if you've seen this movie, but okay. It's how could I put it? The movie Chicken Run is based off of this movie.
Wallace and Gromit?
Yeah, the Wallace and Gromit movie Chicken Run is based off of this movie. So how they're a massive group of people are trying to escape from a prison camp, basically.
Schindler's List?
No, it was made in 1963.
Okay.
What could I don't know if you know this actor. He was big in the 60s.
Try me. Give me another film he's been in or something.
Okay. He's in the movie Wanted, Dead or Alive. He's also known for
Clint Eastwood?
No. It's he's also in Bullet. And
all right, maybe I don't. I guess I need something else to go off of here.
Oh gosh, there's really nothing else. So I'll give you. Oh goodness, I couldn't tell you. So I
guess I failed. You can tell me who it is.
All right, I mean
idea.
It's an older one. His name's Steve McQueen.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
I know Steve McQueen, dude.
And he's in the movie that I chose him from was The Great Escape as Hiltz, the Cooler King.
I have never seen that, but Steve McQueen has been in a couple movies I've seen. The Magnificent Seven would have been a way to go. That would have been the one that I would have known him most from.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Okay. Well, I don't have much to say about him in The Great Escape, unfortunately.
Well,
Steve McQueen, one of our historical badasses in cinema history.
Indeed.
So, I like you throwing it a little old school there. I like that.
Yeah.
I almost put Orson Welles as my coach on my roster, so that would have been kind of a cool parallel we'd have had.
I got my
did not quite make the cut.
I got my
Walter
throwback.
Schobach just threw him to the ground.
Walter Schobach. Fair enough on that one, but I gotta say, Steve McQueen, he's my throwback tight end. Ain't no way no one's getting past him. He's the escape artist. He gets over 200 people out of a POW camp during World War II, and doesn't make it out, but he gets a bunch of other people. So
hey,
no one's getting past him.
Sacrifices for the team. I like that.
Indeed.
Quality selection there with Steve McQueen. I like that one.
Yeah, we got a solid guy. So,
all right, now
let's hear it.
I do now. Steve McQueen, I'm sure, is the bigger badass, but I don't think he could stand up toe to toe against the guy I have playing tight end on my squad.
Okay, great. What do you got, Lou Ferrigno?
No, he. I don't think Lou Ferrigno could stand up to the guy I've got here.
Oh dear.
Think 90s sci-fi movie.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay. Now the film.
Okay. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. What movie was he in where he's like the clone of a clone, where he's the clone of someone and he really doesn't know it?
Think Hasta La Vista, baby.
Okay, so he's the Terminator. The
All
Terminator.
Right, yes, but
Ellen, get to the chopper.
I did not pick Schwarzenegger's Terminator. I
Oh.
picked the T-1000 from Terminator 2. The liquid metal version. He's the more advanced Terminator. I mean, I was like, I should put the Terminator in here, but then I was like, except for that, the T-1000 was like infinitely better. He could like morph his entire body into like weapons and shit. It was
Oh,
fucking
freaking hell.
So I like your throwback to Steve McQueen there, but Robert Patrick playing the T-1000, I gotta tell you, he is going to be a tough customer for pretty much anybody on your roster to deal with. I don't even think Spock could handle it.
For having such horrible acting that he has to do as the T-1000, well, I guess he does a good job playing a robot, but there's no real acting that's involved. I mean, I love him in all of the other stuff that he's been in with TV shows. I mean, I've seen him in Psych now. I've seen him. He's been in a lot of stuff, but I mean,
Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
There's been a couple things.
But tight end wise, I mean, you got two handicaps here. I mean, both of these guys are basically all robot, but I could deal. I can deal.
I hope you have someone on your roster with an EMP grenade. Because you could really put me in dire straits with that.
Closest I got is Spock.
Spock might be carrying something similar to that around.
Yeah, he could. Who knows? But all right, fair enough. So we've got our tight ends taken care of. Let's go to
We've got the running backs and the wide receivers, the meat of our roster left here.
the make or break.
Did you fill in your wide receiver replacement yet?
I'm in the process right now. So let's go running backs.
Let's go to running backs then. All right. Fire away.
Since we have 2 running backs and 3 wide receivers, do we just want to do one guess, or do we want to guess each and every one of them?
I say we keep going. I like trying to figure them out.
Okay. These ones I'm going to kind of lob at you, just for the sake of getting a little bit quicker through them.
All right.
Okay. My first running back here really is more so... he's the guy that just kind of like warms your heart because of the fact that everyone hates him. He's more so there as team morale than anything. He's not going to do anything on the field, but everyone still needs him to be a collective source of hatred.
You picked a bench player?
Well, yes and
man.
no.
My team would totally own you in a real football game here.
Well, we'll just have to see. But he could be maybe the one person who knows everything and really throws a muck in your situation here. Anyways, his name, it's 2 syllables, and everyone hates him in the movie that he's in. He works behind a radio and wants to be on the front lines with all the other cops, and these cops hate the state troopers. Everyone...
Are we talking Super Troopers here?
We are talking Super Troopers here, and they ask him, hey, they say, any one of you says shenanigans one more time, I am going to pistol whip you. And then they say, hey blank, what's that restaurant with all the sports memorabilia? And he's like, shenanigans?
I'm going to tell you right now, I have no idea. I saw Super Troopers one time and hated it.
Oh, man.
I know. I am in the minority here. I understand that. But I do not know the character you're talking about.
Okay. His name's Farva. He's like...
Is he the one that got, like, his burger spit on?
Yeah. He's like, is that spit on my burger? He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
F it. I want a liter of cola. We don't have a liter of cola.
Just give me a fucking liter of cola.
So there's my first one. My next
Okay.
one of my favorite actors. He's also in my favorite movie, That Thing You Do. It's the first movie he ever directed. This movie, he plays a mentally challenged person who accomplishes way more than most normal people do in their lives.
We are talking Mr. Forrest Gump right here.
Indeed, Tom Hanks is Forrest Gump.
Who did play a little bit of football at Alabama.
He did, and this was the only one that Miller really knew beforehand. It's my only stipulation one to see if
He had to clarify to see if I would allow Forrest Gump since he actually did play football. But he's such an iconic character, and he wasn't really playing football all that long.
yeah.
Really spent more time playing ping pong than football, so.
Agreed, but this man can run.
Yes, he can.
Unfortunately, he might run
4
out of the
days.
stadium. And
That's true. This is true, but I'm a little when you were asking me this and I realized it was Forrest Gump, I was a little disappointed that I hadn't thought of him for myself. I'm a little upset by that. So I'm a little jealous. That is the one player on your roster so far I'm a little jealous of.
Yes.
So,
Well,
thanks for stealing that one away from me, you jerk.
you got my other ones.
That's true. All right, now we'll go to my running backs, and I'll start with my second string running back since he was in a movie with the actor who played your first string running back, Mr. Forrest Gump there.
Oh.
Or, well, Tom Hanks, technically, I
Okay.
guess. Prison movie.
Prison movie. All right. We talking about the Green Mile?
We are talking the Green Mile here.
Okay. I don't remember his name.
But you're John Coffey,
Yeah.
the big guy.
Yeah.
Michael Clark Duncan, who sadly
Michael-
passed away
yeah.
this year, unfortunately.
That was
but,
a big surprise to me.
uh-huh.
Anywho.
No. I know you guys are going to be really curious. It's like, man, guy that big, second string running back, who's he got in store for us at the number 1 slot? But to talk about Mr. John Coffey there for a minute, I got a real big bruiser right there. Healing powers. The man takes a little injury or whatever. He just, sits down, heals himself back up there, gets himself back on the field. I like that.
Specializes in groin injuries, so those ones
I
are
feel like
notorious.
he's gonna be really solid in pass protection for my team and keep him on there on third downs. You know what I mean?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Now to get to the real separator on my fantasy team. I think this is where I win
Okay.
right here. We're talking another Schwarzenegger movie, actually.
Oh, damn.
Another sci-fi Schwarzenegger movie, in fact.
All right.
This movie starred 2 future governors.
The Predator.
It is.
All right.
And my running back is, in fact, the Predator.
Invisibility. You got us
The
there.
man is invisible, and even if you did find him, you're not going to be happy about it. He's going to gut you like a fish.
All right.
He's going to tear you apart, hold you in front of him, take off his mask, scare you to death, probably give you a heart attack, and then he's just going to throw you to the side and run that pigskin right into the end zone. And then he's probably going to blow up half of the stadium with the plasma cannon he's got on his shoulder.
Okay.
That is my ace in the hole player right there, the Predator.
Fine. Fine.
All right. Did you find your wide receiver replacement yet?
Yeah, I got him.
Okay. All right, let's hop over onto wide receivers there.
Alrighty. So, my first one here, hot chick. There we go.
Okay.
Not
I'm with you.
okay. Hot lady. She's going to be in a future
Mila
movie.
Kunis.
No,
Okay.
with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's coming out next year. No, it's coming out this year. It's called Don Juan or Don John.
What else has she been in?
She has been in the Avengers.
Scarlett Johansson?
Scarlett Johansson, and she plays as Barbara.
Okay, well, which character are you putting on your roster, though?
Oh, her name is Barbara. That's who I'm putting on there. She's
from her newest film is who you're taking?
yeah. So
You're not going to take the Black Widow? She was a spy.
I know she was a spy, but what I really am going for is a lady in heels. That's what I need as my wide receiver. So, and she plays as a New Jersey
just-
girl.
You've chosen to let a woman and a very attractive woman run downfield, and you've chosen Spock as your quarterback, who's going to look downfield, the stoic Vulcan with no sexual interest in her at all. That's who you're gonna have staring at her.
But I'm the owner. I'm staring at her. Screw him.
All right.
It's all me. It's all practice. It's all about the practices.
I don't disagree. I mean, you are really setting yourself behind here in terms of winning football games. You are turning your team into the Cleveland Browns of our fantasy movie draft.
The Browns? I don't know. Maybe the Lions.
I'm looking a lot more. Yeah, the Lions too. I didn't want to ruin any locals' hopes and dreams. But,
sorry there, guys.
yeah. I am turning myself into the New England Patriots of fantasy movie draft over here. I am really bringing it home. All right, so Scarlett Johansson in upcoming film.
Yes.
All right, not a terrible pick. I appreciate. The league appreciates your enthusiasm and willingness to include both gender types on the field. So we appreciate that.
There we go. My next choice here. I think this is my real clincher.
Is this the replacement guy?
No. This was one of my originals for my wide receivers. See, if I had him and if I had this guy and I had the cutter, I would.
Oh yeah, but you did not get the cutter, sir. I swiped him on you.
Oh man, my team would have won hands down, no problem.
That should tell you right there the difference in talent levels on our team. You were gonna be playing the butcher at wide receiver. He's just the kicker on my team.
No, you put him in the wrong spot.
I can move him to wide receiver if someone gets hurt.
Okay, well, I have one of my favorite Nemesis characters in all of movies. One from one of my favorite movies, The Dark Knight. That's all I'm going to say.
So you picked the Joker.
I picked the Joker, Heath Ledger.
All right, I don't hate it. I almost picked him myself.
He comes in to really compliment the coach here with Tyler Durden and the Joker.
You are a team of sociopaths over there. I have a feeling Scarlett Johansson's character wants nothing to do with being on this squad.
She doesn't, but she doesn't have a choice.
She has a neo-Nazi. She has Tyler Durden. She has freaking... Who are we talking about now?
Oh, the Joker.
The Joker.
Yeah, she's just all sorts of...
She is not going to be pleased here. She has no one to talk to except Forrest Gump on this roster, and he's, let's just say, slow.
Yeah, to say the least. So my final character that I choose here, this is
the replacement.
This is my replacement, but I'm going with the sci-fi again. We're going with some robotics, just to kind of even the playing field here.
All right.
He's starring in the new 2014 sci-fi thriller. Can't name it because it gives it away. But he plays as, when he's not this character in the title of the movie, his name is Alex Murphy. It's a remake from a 1987 sci-fi where the crime-ridden city of Detroit is...
RoboCop.
Yes, indeed.
You have selected the RoboCop. Yeah, I'm actually really interested in that reboot.
I know.
Gary
Oldman, he's in it.
I have a soft place in my heart for Gary Oldman.
Agreed.
I enjoy a lot of the stuff that he's done. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Anybody who hasn't seen that movie, go see that movie, please.
Yes.
And you will understand what I mean about Gary Oldman.
There was another close call with that one. I had him, or I was going to choose Khan with...
Star Trek Khan?
Yeah, Star Trek Khan.
Khan!
Yeah, man. He has become one of my favorite actors, Benedict Cumberbatch.
What else has he done?
He's in the new show. Well, it's not new. It's a BBC show with called Sherlock. That's on Netflix. I was actually gonna watch that.
Seriously,
each episode is an hour and a half long. So there's 3 episodes a season, and they have, I believe, 3 seasons on Netflix, and they're starting the 4th season soon. But he's in that movie, or he's in that show also with the guy who plays the Hobbit. Martin Freeman.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
they actually do a really good job. He's become one of my favorites because of Sherlock. And, I mean, he's not in too much yet, but he's starting to get into more things. So I really like him.
I will say this. As much as you may like him, I think you made the right choice with RoboCop.
Indeed.
Giving a little hometown love
Yeah.
to the state of Michigan here. Well, I guess it's not technically your hometown because you're from Canada. But I am pleased with that selection, and I think you've made a wise choice getting Peter Weller on your roster.
Yes, indeed. So,
All right. So I've got my wide receivers left here.
let's hear it.
Let's start with the most benign of the three that I have chosen. That would be Robert Angiers from The Prestige. This is Hugh Jackman's character.
Okay.
This was more of a love pick from me right here. The Prestige is a top 5 favorite movie of mine of all time. Absolutely love it, and Hugh Jackman is my favorite. Well, tied for my favorite character because Michael Caine's character in that movie is absolutely awesome as well, and so is for that matter Christian Bale's, and Scarlett Johansson too.
That's why it's a top.
Awesome. I know the movie's just awesome. The whole cast is awesome. It is a great film. But I've chosen him because he has the ultimate trick. He just continually cloned himself. So if one of them, I can just have, he's out there on a play, then all of a sudden he disappears, and then a clone of himself just appears in the end zone, and Vader's slinging passes downfield. He just pops out of nowhere and catches him. I have a really dynamic offense, and with Robert Angiers on there, I think I'm going to be in really good shape this season.
Okay.
My next one. Oh, shoot, I didn't even make you guess.
Yeah, I know.
I was too excited. I just gave it away. I'm making you guess on this one, though.
Okay.
All right. This Tarantino film.
All right.
Pulp
Fiction?
Yep, Pulp
Okay.
Fiction. I was going to say it's probably considered the best one. He is a hitman.
All right, we talking John Travolta? Or, no, we're not talking John Travolta. We're
know
talking
we're not
Samuel
talking-
Jackson.
Yes, we are, sir. We are talking Jules Winfield.
A Royale with
Any
cheese.
man with a wallet that says badass motherfucker on it gets to get on my football team. That's all I need to see.
All right.
And then the speech that he delivers at the end, one of my favorite monologues in all of movie history. I actually recited that little bit for a speech class I took in college a few years back. Got an A on that. No
Nice.
big deal. Thanks for the material there, Mr. Tarantino. I appreciate it. So he's more of my slot guy. He doesn't really have the explosive downfield skills of my other two guys. But I got a feeling that the badass motherfucker can come up with a big catch when I need it. So
Agreed.
I'm really looking for that.
There's a couple taglines for that. I like just because you're a character doesn't mean you have character from Pulp Fiction. Very
true.
savvy. All right.
My last one. This is the one that is just way out of left field, and I would find it hard to believe you've never seen this movie.
Okay.
But I'd find it hard to believe you've seen it in the last 15 years.
All right.
Kids movie.
Okay.
Takes place in a magical world.
Magical world.
Has to do with a book. The third movie in this series starred Jack Black as the main villain.
Starred Jack Black as the main villain?
Mm-hmm. And he was fairly young.
He was fairly young in this movie? And
Jack Black was. In the third one he was, yes.
Okay.
How else do I want to go about it here?
What on earth would it be? I haven't seen it in the last 15 years.
Okay. I'm gonna read you the summary on IMDb real quick.
Okay.
A troubled boy dives into a wondrous fantasy world through the pages of a mysterious book.
Shut up. He actually plays in that movie? Oh, I'm trying to think of what it...
In the third one. Not the original one.
Wait. The one that I'm thinking of is the Page Master?
No, not Page Master. That's Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah. Okay. What the heck? What movie is like that? Because I'm trying to remember if I've seen something like that, and
You want me to give it to you?
Yeah, hit me with the movie at least.
The Never-Ending Story.
No,
You've never seen The Never-Ending Story?
No.
Oh man, you were gonna be so man. This is not gonna be the conversation starter I was hoping for. Oh my god! Google the never-ending story.
Oh,
real quick.
dude, I saw this thing so many times, like the picture. But like when I was a kid and I saw it, I like got freaked out by that dragon dog thing.
Yeah, that dragon dog thing is my third wide receiver. His name is Falcor. So, for those of you who haven't seen it, I cannot believe you haven't seen this movie.
No.
But for those of us out there who haven't seen it, let me explain a little bit of what Falcor is. He is essentially this giant dragon-looking dog that carries the main story of the movie through the skies on his back. He is absolutely massive.
Oh, what the heck? It's so creepy.
He strikes me as I really like him. I mean, it's just a lame '80s movie in the first place, but
yeah,
it's really funny because my brother has a dog. It's like a Shih Tzu Lhasa Apso mix or something, but it looks just like this dog.
That's so creepy.
Or just like this dog flying thing. So I figured that if I have a guy who's 300 feet long, flying throughout the sky. He basically covers the whole field with the length of his body. I think I can just throw it to him wherever I want, and he'll just fly it into the end zone.
He's
I'm
gone.
I'm so disappointed that you haven't seen it.
I'm sorry. Oh my gosh.
Here is a describing factor of Falcor: flying cotton candy hot dog.
Yeah, that's fair enough. You look at these pictures and you'll be really creeped out. I still don't think I can watch this movie. It still is creeping me out.
It's a very like strange movie. It's really good, but it's I could see how it would be a little bit freaky. We've all got our demons when we were kids. I couldn't play Super Mario 64 for years because of the level where you go underwater and there's that red eel.
Yeah.
I could not touch that game for years because I was afraid I was going to see that thing. And I played it like not too recently. I'm like, really, Cam? Really? You were afraid of this?
Wow. Congratulations on confronting your fear.
Yep. I'm a strong man. I am a strong man with strong convictions.
Strong man I am.
I was not going to be bested by that red...
By that damn eel.
64 pixelated eel anymore. All right. That wraps up our draft. Let's go through our whole rosters here. Read yours off again.
Okay, so we have, for my coach, Brad Pitt as Tyler Durden. My QB was Zachary Quinto as Spock. My kicker was Edward Norton as Derek Vineyard from American History X. We also have my tight end, Steve McQueen, as Hiltz from, or otherwise known as the Cooler King in The Great Escape. My 3 wide receivers were Scarlett Johansson as Barbara from Don Juan, Heath Ledger as the Joker, and then, oh goodness, I already forgot his name. I didn't write it down. But I have RoboCop, Peter Weller. And then my 2 running backs, I had Kevin Heffernan as Farva and Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump.
All right, now to go over my roster here. We've got Darth Vader at quarterback, the Predator and John Coffey as both my running backs, Falcor, Jules Winfield, and Robert Angiers from The Prestige at wide receiver. My tight end is the T-1000. My kicker is Bill the Butcher Cutting, which I robbed from you in the second round.
Indeed.
And my coach from The Big Lebowski, who's really going to tie it all together, Walter Sobchak.
Gosh.
I enjoyed this segment. I'm glad we did this.
Indeed. Me too.
If any of you have any problems with our draft picks here, please post on the website. Let us know who you would have selected in turn of some of these selections we've made, because I'm sure we're forgetting just a ton of awesome characters, but these are the ones that immediately jump to mind. I will give an honorable mention on my squad. I had Beetlejuice on there for a minute or two because I just kept thinking that during the audibles Vader would call, he could like work the word Beetlejuice in there 3 times, and I could just get an extra player on the field because he'd just appear.
See, for me, my honorable mentions were all Avengers characters. It was all Marvel.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing it too, and we kind of agreed that we wanted to stay away from superhero types because I was gonna put the Hulk at running back and Captain America at quarterback, and yeah, that would have kind of ruined the segment a little bit, I think.
Yeah, it would have just been 2 movies. Like, who would you have picked from the Avengers, basically? So, we're glad we didn't either. But let us know what you guys think. Please subscribe to our podcast. Please listen in. We got some good stuff coming up in these next couple episodes. So, we're really excited to be talking to you a little bit more next week. We're going to be
getting
having
closer to next gen time.
Yes.
We should have I guess it should be worth mentioning as Gamescom is actually only a couple hours away from when we're recording this episode of the podcast. And we should have a PS4 release date by our next episode. So at least we're hoping to. And we will talk a little bit more about that when Paul comes back next week.
Mm-hmm.
And be sure, please, guys, let us know how you liked this segment. We're trying to try new things, and we thought this would be something a little fun to kind of mix it up. So if you'd like to see us do more stuff like this, it'll probably be even more entertaining once we get Paul back into the mix here.
Yeah.
To do this kind of stuff in the future, so let us know.
So that wraps it up for this week's podcast. Thank you all for listening. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at WCST Podcast or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/WCST Podcast. Next week, we're going to be talking about the newest movies, The World's End and You're Next. We'll also be going over our gaming segment, talking about our review of Splinter Cell Blacklist to give your ears some more amazing content. And we'll also be talking about a few more of our WCST Play segments. We know they didn't come out. Paul was on vacation. That's our main concern here, but we'll definitely have something up next week to keep you guys tuned in to all that's great with the Summer of Arcade. And then, finally, we're also going to be bringing in a few more new segments to the show. We'll probably have another movie draft for another set of skills. I'm thinking zombie apocalypse. Stay tuned for that next week for sure. Keep up on our blog to see more of what's coming out in games, movies, and tech. Go to the site wcstpodcast.com and ask us what you want our post to be about. You should be our director. All right, folks, that wraps it up. We'll talk to you guys next week. Adios.
See you later.